The first rays of dawn had not yet fully broken, casting a soft, ethereal glow over the sprawling mansion of Mr. Adil, nestled in the city's most affluent district. An unusual silence hung heavy in the air, a stark contrast to the usual morning bustle that typically filled the house. Even the chirping of birds seemed subdued today, as if they too were aware of an impending storm. Dewdrops glistened like pearls on the lush green lawn, and the faint scent of roses wafted through the air. The scene was outwardly so serene that no one could have imagined the horrific truth hidden beneath this beautiful facade. Fatima, the housemaid who had served the Adil family for many years, entered the kitchen to prepare the morning tea, as was her routine. Her face bore the weariness of daily chores, and a strange unease. She noticed that Mr. Adil had not come downstairs at his usual time. He was always punctual, and his absence stirred an unfamiliar dread in Fatima's heart. She called out to him several times, but received no answer. Her heart began to pound. Gathering her courage, she made her way towards Mr. Adil's room. The door was slightly ajar, and a peculiar odor emanated from within, the smell of blood and death. Fatima's hands and feet turned cold, but she mustered all her strength and pushed the door open, peering inside. The sight that greeted her shook her to her very soul. Mr. Adil lay face down in the center of his opulent bedroom, sprawled across a valuable Persian rug. A deep pool of blood had formed around his body, and his eyes were wide open, frozen in a mixture of fear and surprise. Everything in the room was in disarray, as if someone had forced their way in, or a fierce struggle had taken place. A scream tore from Fatima's throat, piercing the mansion's silence and echoing far and wide. Her shriek startled the other occupants of the mansion. Nadia, Adil's wife, who had been sleeping in her room, woke up with a jolt at the sound. Her face was etched with fear and distress. She rushed towards Adil's room, and when she saw her husband's lifeless body, she collapsed, unconscious. Within moments, police sirens and ambulance wails filled the air outside the mansion. People from the neighborhood began to gather, their faces a mix of fear, curiosity, and shock. This area was considered peaceful and safe, and such a horrific incident was beyond anyone's imagination. Mr. Adil, a well-known and successful businessman in the city, his murder was a huge blow to everyone. The news spread like wildfire, and soon the incident was on everyone's lips. Everyone wanted to know who had killed Mr. Adil so brutally, and why. This murder had not only taken a life, but had also shattered the peace of an entire community. It was a deep secret that had now stirred the calm waters of this serene neighborhood. Upon receiving news of the murder, the case was assigned to Inspector Fahad, the city's most experienced and astute police officer. Fahad, in his late 40s, was a man whose eyes held deep contemplation and whose face bore the marks of many unspoken sorrows from his past. There was a peculiar charisma about him. He was a man of few words, but every utterance carried depth and weight. He had solved numerous complex cases in his career, yet each case left a new scar on his soul. His own life was not without its mysteries, and perhaps that was why he possessed an extraordinary ability to understand the secrets of others. Fahad arrived at the crime scene in his old Jeep, accompanied by his young and enthusiastic assistant, Sub-Inspector Ali. Ali was new to the police force, and looked up to Fahad as his idol. Fahad cast a fleeting glance at the crowd gathered outside the mansion, then entered without a trace of emotion. His face, as always, was serious. Upon entering the room, Fahad first took a deep breath. The scent of blood assaulted his nostrils, but he showed no reaction. He put on his gloves and meticulously began to examine the crime scene. His gaze was fixed on every minute detail. He surveyed the pool of blood on the carpet, the scattered furniture, and a large painting hanging crookedly on the wall, as if someone had touched it in haste. Fahad instructed Ali to photograph everything in the room and to ensure nothing was moved until the forensic team arrived. He carefully examined Adil's body. There were several deep stab wounds on his body, indicating that the killer had struck with extreme anger and brutality. Fahad noticed a small gold chain lying near the body. It didn't seem to belong to Adil, and it bore a strange mark. This was a detail that might have escaped anyone else's notice, but Fahad's keen eyes immediately caught it. He summoned the forensic team and instructed them to collect every possible piece of evidence. He told Ali to conduct initial interrogations of all the mansion's staff and Adil's family members. Fahad knew that the initial hours were crucial in such cases, and even the smallest piece of information could help solve the case. As the forensic team worked, Fahad tried to absorb the atmosphere of the room. He felt as if the walls of the room held a hidden story, a secret that could only be revealed with time. He pulled out his diary and began to jot down notes. Many questions arose in his mind. Who was the killer? What was their motive? And whose gold chain was this? All these questions swirled in his mind, and he knew that to find their answers, he would have to delve into the depths of human psychology. This case was not just a murder case. It was a complex tangle of human relationships, secrets, and revenge. Fahad silently vowed that he would unravel this mystery, no matter how deep he had to go. Inspector Fahad commenced the initial investigation, his primary focus on those closest to Mr. Adil. His first interview was with Nadia, Adil's wife. Nadia was a beautiful yet reserved woman, her eyes reflecting deep sorrow and a strange detachment. She was still in a state of shock, and her responses were brief and vague. She claimed to know nothing about the murder, stating she was asleep when Fatima's scream woke her. When Fahad inquired about her relationship with Adil, she merely said their relationship was fine, but a hesitation in her voice did not escape Fahad's keen observation. Fahad suspected Nadia was hiding something, or perhaps she herself was a victim of fear. He asked a few questions about Nadia's past, but she evaded answering. Fahad sensed a storm brewing within Nadia, which she desperately wanted to conceal. Next, Fahad met with Imran, Adil's business partner. Imran was an ambitious and passionate man, outwardly distraught by Adil's death. He told Fahad that Adil was his best friend and business associate, and his death was a great loss. However, when Fahad questioned him about their business dealings, a slight unease flickered across Imran's face. He admitted to having some financial disputes with Adil, particularly concerning a large project, but insisted these were minor disagreements that had been resolved. Fahad detected a discrepancy in Imran's statements. There was a peculiar glint in his eyes, reflecting something other than grief. Fahad requested details of Imran's bank accounts and recent business transactions. The third suspect was Adil's former employee, Zahid. Adil had unfairly fired Zahid a few months prior, and since then, Zahid harbored intense hatred for him. Fahad located Zahid at his home in a poorer part of the city. Zahid's face was filled with anger and bitterness. He told Fahad that Adil was a cruel and ruthless man who had ruined his life. He admitted wanting revenge on Adil but denied committing the murder. He claimed he was at home on the night of the murder and had no alibi. Fahad sensed a mix of truth and falsehood in Zahid's words. Zahid's anger was genuine, but was he capable of murder? Fahad ordered a check of his mobile phone location and interviews with those close to him. Fahad knew that each suspect had a motive, and each story contained elements that made them suspicious. Nadia's mysterious demeanor, Imran's financial disputes, and Zahid's intense hatred, all these were forming a complex web, and Fahad had to navigate it with extreme caution. He meticulously recorded details about each character in his diary and analyzed their potential motives. He also felt that this case was not limited to superficial motives, but concealed deeper secrets rooted in human psychology. There was a human element in each character's story, an aspect that made them not just criminals or victims, but complex individuals. Fahad also realized that this case was intertwined with his own past sorrows, and perhaps that was why he was so deeply involved in it. As the investigation progressed, Inspector Fahad realized he needed to delve deeper into Mr. Adil's personality. Adil, outwardly a successful and prosperous man, had his death expose several dark facets of his life. During his inquiry, Fahad discovered that Mr. Adil regularly met with a psychologist, Dr. Sarah. This information proved to be a crucial turning point for Fahad. Dr. Sarah, in her mid-30s, was an intelligent, empathetic, and observant woman. Her eyes held a particular sparkle that reflected her intellect and her extraordinary ability to understand others. She was a renowned psychologist in the city, and her clinic was always bustling with patients. Fahad scheduled an appointment with Sarah and arrived at her clinic. Sarah greeted Fahad with a calm and professional demeanor. Fahad informed her about Mr. Adil's murder and requested information about him. Sarah initially cited patient confidentiality, but when Fahad explained the gravity of the case and the need for justice, she agreed to provide information. Sarah told Fahad that Mr. Adil was a complex personality. He appeared very strong and successful on the surface, but internally, he suffered from several psychological issues. He had difficulty controlling his anger and was often troubled by certain past events. Sarah informed Fahad that Adil had a difficult childhood and faced immense pressure from his father. This pressure had become an integral part of his personality, and he constantly strived to prove his superiority over others. Sarah also revealed that Mr. Adil had strained relationships with many people and often made ruthless decisions. He had harmed several individuals, which had created numerous enemies for him. Sarah recounted incidents where Adil had acted unfairly towards his business partners and employees. Fahad listened intently to Sarah's words. He felt that Sarah's information could provide a new direction for the case. Sarah had unveiled aspects of Adil's personality that could prove vital to Fahad's investigation. However, Fahad also sensed a strange hesitation in Sarah's words. He felt she knew more, something she wasn't ready to disclose yet. A deep secret seemed hidden in her eyes, further fueling Fahad's curiosity. Fahad asked Sarah if Adil had ever expressed concern about a particular person. Sarah pondered for a moment, then said that Adil often mentioned someone connected to his past, from whom he felt threatened. But Sarah did not reveal the person's name, stating that Adil had forbidden her from doing so. Fahad found this strange. He felt Sarah was hiding something, or perhaps she herself was in danger. He thanked Sarah and assured her of her safety. Fahad knew that Sarah was a crucial link in this case, and he would need to extract more information from her. This meeting brought new hope for Fahad, but it also raised several new questions. The case was no longer just a murder investigation. It had become a profound story of human psychology, secrets, and intricate relationships. Inspector Fahad's investigation led him to an aspect of Mr. Adil's life that starkly contradicted his outwardly successful and dignified persona. After his meeting with Dr. Sarah, Fahad decided to conduct a more thorough search of Adil's house. He was convinced that Adil's life must hold secrets that could help unravel the mystery of his murder. During their search, the forensic team discovered a hidden drawer in Adil's personal library. Inside this drawer was an old, leather-bound diary. The diary was written in Adil's own handwriting and contained many events from his life that he had kept hidden from the world. As Fahad began to read the diary, expressions of surprise spread across his face. The diary detailed Adil's childhood deprivations, his father's harsh treatment, and the resulting psychological complexities. He had written about his obsession with always proving himself superior to others, an obsession that had forced him to make many ethically questionable decisions. The diary also contained confessions of numerous dishonest dealings in his business, deceiving people, and usurping their rights. Most shockingly, the diary listed several individuals from whom Adil had sought revenge or whom he had harmed in some way. Among these names were Imran, his business partner, and Zahid, his former employee. The diary detailed how Adil had defrauded Imran in a major business deal, appropriating his share of the profits. Regarding Zahid, he had written that he fired him simply to assert his power. Another significant revelation in the diary was Adil's involvement with a secret society composed of influential individuals in the city. The society's objectives were dubious, and its members were involved in illegal activities. Adil had written that he wanted to leave this society because he felt his life was in danger. He had also named some members who were threatening him. Fahad carefully read every page of the diary. He realized that Mr. Adil's life was a complex web, in which he himself had become entangled. This diary could not only help understand the killer's motives, but also expose the true faces of several influential figures in the city. Fahad carefully took possession of the diary. He knew that this diary was the most crucial piece of evidence in the case and had to be handled with extreme caution. This diary had given the case a new direction, and now Fahad was not just looking for a killer, but he had to uncover a deep secret that could shake the entire city. Adil's diary gave Inspector Fahad's investigation a new dimension. He was no longer relying solely on superficial evidence but was delving deep into each character to understand their dark sides. He decided to reinterrogate Nadia, Imran, and Zahid. During his second meeting with Nadia, Fahad showed her some excerpts from Adil's diary that hinted at Nadia's past. Nadia's face turned pale, and her eyes, besides fear, showed a strange helplessness. She confessed that her past was not as simple as she portrayed it. She belonged to a family connected to a notorious gang in the city. Adil knew about her past and blackmailed her. Nadia revealed that Adil had forced her to marry him so he could use her family's influence for his business objectives. She also stated that Adil subjected her to mental and emotional abuse. She harbored intense hatred for Adil but couldn't act due to fear. Fahad felt a deep human tragedy in Nadia's story. She could be the killer. But her motives were not just revenge. They were also a fight for her freedom and dignity. When Fahad questioned Imran about the financial fraud mentioned in the diary, he initially stammered, then confessed that Adil had cheated him in a major project and embezzled millions of rupees. Imran stated that he wanted his money back from Adil and was willing to go to any lengths for it. He also mentioned that Adil had threatened to harm his family if he ever spoke out. Anger and helplessness were clearly visible in Imran's eyes. He told Fahad that he had argued with Adil many times, and once it even escalated to a physical altercation. Fahad felt that Imran had a strong motive to kill Adil. But was he brave enough to take such a step? During Zahid's re-interrogation, Fahad informed him about the contents of Adil's diary concerning him. Zahid's anger erupted. He revealed that Adil had not only fired him but had also falsely accused him of theft, which led to his imprisonment. His life was ruined, and his family had distanced themselves from him. Zahid stated that he intensely hated Adil and wanted to teach him a lesson. He admitted that he had gone near Adil's mansion on the night of the murder, but he claimed he only wanted to scare him, with no intention of killing him. Fahad saw truth in Zahid's words. But his anger and hatred were so intense that he could have done anything. Fahad now realized that this case was not just about finding a killer. It was a story of humanity's dark aspects: revenge, greed, and oppression. Every character had a strong motive to kill Adil, and each story held a deep human tragedy. Fahad also felt that he himself was burdened by his past, much like these characters, and perhaps that was why he could understand their sorrows so deeply. This case was not just a professional responsibility for him, it was also stirring the human within him. After the first meeting with Dr. Sarah, many questions about her arose in Inspector Fahad's mind. Sarah had provided crucial information about Adil's personality, but a strange hesitation in her demeanor and a sense of concealment troubled Fahad. Fahad decided to gather more information about Sarah. He learned that Sarah and Adil's relationship was not merely that of doctor and patient. They had known each other for many years. Fahad began discreetly monitoring Sarah outside her clinic. He soon discovered that Sarah's life was not as simple as she made it out to be. She often went to an old house in a deserted area late at night, where she had secret meetings with someone. Fahad suspected that Sarah might also be connected to Adil's secret society, or she might be involved in some other deep secret. One night, Fahad followed Sarah and saw her enter the old house. Fahad cautiously approached the house and peered inside. He heard faint voices from within. Sarah was talking to someone, and her voice clearly conveyed fear and distress. Fahad moved closer to listen and heard Adil's name. Sarah was saying that Adil's secrets were too deep, and she could no longer hide them. Fahad was surprised to hear that Sarah knew something about Adil that she hadn't revealed before. Fahad met Sarah again the next day, but this time his demeanor was sterner than before. He asked Sarah whom she met in that old house and what secrets of Adil she was hiding. Sarah initially denied everything, but when Fahad told her that he had been following her and had seen her enter the house, Sarah's face turned pale. She confessed that she used to meet an old friend of Adil's who had some information about Adil's secret society. Sarah revealed that Adil had told her about this society and wanted to leave it. Sarah also mentioned that Adil had given her a confidential document containing the names of all the society's members and details of their illegal activities. This document could be the real reason for Adil's death. Fahad was shocked to hear this. He realized that Sarah was not just a witness, but a crucial link in the case that could lead him to the killer. But he also felt that Sarah herself was in danger, and he had to ensure her safety. Fahad asked Sarah for the document, but Sarah said she had hidden it in a safe place and would only hand it over when she was completely sure of her safety. Fahad saw truth in Sarah's words, but there was also a strange unease within him. He felt that Sarah still had some secrets she wasn't revealing. Adil's diary and Sarah's information had given the case a new direction, but with it, the dangers had also increased. Fahad realized he was caught in a web where danger lurked at every step. He also knew that the members of Adil's secret society could be very powerful and dangerous. One evening, as Fahad was reviewing case files in his office, he received a phone call. It was Sub-Inspector Ali, who sounded very distressed. Ali informed Fahad that Imran, Adil's business partner, had been attacked. Imran had been rushed to the hospital in critical condition. Fahad was shocked to hear this. He realized that the killer was now targeting everyone who knew Adil's secrets. One by one, Fahad rushed to the hospital. Imran was severely injured but conscious. Fahad asked him who attacked him, and Imran revealed that he was attacked by a masked person who was asking him about Adil's confidential document. Imran stated that he told the attacker he knew nothing about the document, whereupon the attacker stabbed him and fled. Fahad was convinced that the killer belonged to Adil's secret society and wanted to obtain that document. This attack further complicated the case and spread fear throughout the community. People were now forced to believe that the killer was not an ordinary criminal, but someone very powerful and influential. Fahad also realized that the killer was very cunning and left no evidence behind. This attack made Fahad suspect that there might be more than one killer or someone trying to mislead the investigation. Fahad deployed police officers to protect Imran at the hospital. He knew the killer might strike again. He instructed Ali to ensure Sarah's safety as well, as she was now also a target. Fahad also realized that he should not waste any more time and had to reach the killer as soon as possible. This case was no longer just a murder case. It had become a battle where he faced a powerful and dangerous enemy. Fahad silently vowed that he would win this battle, even if it meant risking his own life. After the attempted murder on Imran, Inspector Fahad was convinced that the confidential document held by Sarah was the real key to this case. He also knew that Sarah was now in grave danger, and he had to obtain that document as soon as possible. Fahad met Sarah again, but this time his demeanor was more serious and pressing than before. Fahad informed Sarah that Imran had been attacked and the killer was searching for that document. He told Sarah that there was no more time to hide secrets, and she must hand over the document immediately. Sarah's face turned white with fear, and tears welled up in her eyes. She confessed that she had been hiding crucial information about her relationship with Adil and a shared secret. Sarah revealed to Fahad that she and Adil were in love, and she was pregnant with his child. But Adil betrayed her and married Nadia, solely to leverage her family's influence for his business objectives. Sarah stated that Adil had threatened her that if she told anyone, he would harm her child. Sarah also mentioned that Adil had forced her to gather information about his secret society and provide it to him. Sarah explained that Adil had given her the confidential document containing the names of all the society's members and details of their illegal activities. Adil had given this document to Sarah so that if anything happened to him, Sarah could hand it over to the police. Sarah stated that she had hidden this document because she feared that if she gave it to anyone, her child's life could be in danger. Fahad was deeply shocked to hear this. He realized how complex and dark Adil's life was. He also learned that Sarah was not just a witness but also a significant victim in this case. Fahad assured Sarah that he would ensure her and her child's safety and bring her justice. Sarah trusted Fahad and handed him the confidential document. The document listed the names of several influential individuals in the city, including politicians, businessmen, and some high-ranking police officers. All of them were members of Adil's secret society and were involved in various illegal activities. Fahad was stunned to learn that some people from his own department were also involved. This document was directly linked to Adil's murder and had given the case a new and dangerous direction. Fahad now knew that he was not just facing a killer, but an entire mafia. With the confidential document provided by Sarah, Inspector Fahad had all the pieces to solve the case. By connecting the information in the document with excerpts from Adil's diary, Fahad unmasked the killer. The killer was not the most suspected person, but someone no one had even considered. The killer was none other than Adil's wife, Nadia. Fahad summoned Nadia to his office and presented her with all the evidence. Nadia initially denied everything, but when Fahad showed her the entries in Adil's diary about her past, Sarah's confession, and some CCTV footage from that night showing her leaving Adil's room, Nadia broke down, weeping. she confessed to her crime. Nadia revealed that she intensely hated Adil. Adil had blackmailed her into marriage and subjected her to mental and physical abuse. She stated that Adil had used her family's influence and then threatened to abandon her and her family once they were no longer useful. Nadia explained that she was fed up with the oppression and wanted to remove him from her life. On the night of the murder, Adil had once again subjected Nadia to abuse and threatened to ruin her and her family. Nadia's patience ran out, and in a fit of rage, she stabbed Adil. She stated that she was not in her senses at the time and had no idea what she was doing. She stabbed Adil multiple times and then fled. She also mentioned that she deliberately left the gold chain in Adil's room to mislead the investigation. Fahad felt a deep sadness upon hearing this. He realized that Nadia was not just a killer but also a victim forced into this act by circumstances. He arrested Nadia, but a sense of empathy lingered in his heart for her. After Nadia's confession, Fahad re-examined all aspects of the case. He realized that this murder was not merely a criminal act but a tragic story of human psychology's depths, hidden sorrows, oppression, and revenge. Nadia's motives were not limited to personal revenge. She was fighting for her dignity, freedom, and survival. Adil's personality was also a significant cause of this murder. His greed, ruthlessness, and habit of exploiting others had created many enemies for him. His involvement in the secret society and his illegal activities had trapped him in a web from which escape had become impossible. Fahad also realized that every character in this case had a strong motive to kill Adil. Imran's financial fraud, Zahid's intense hatred, and Sarah's betrayal. All these were motives that could incite anyone to murder. But Nadia's motives were the deepest and most humanizing. She was a woman who had been exploited in every way by her husband, and she had no other way to save her life. Fahad emphasized in his report that this case was not just a murder case, but a reflection of societal pressure, oppression, and the complexities of human psychology. He also wrote that justice is not just about punishing the criminal, but also about understanding the underlying motives and eliminating the circumstances that force people into crime. After Nadia's arrest and confession, the case was solved. A strange silence fell over the city. People were astonished that Adil's killer was none other than his own wife. The news spread like wildfire, and everyone expressed sorrow over this tragic story. Fahad ensured Sarah's safety and helped her hand over the confidential document to high-ranking police officials. Based on this document, several influential members of Adil's secret society were arrested, and a large-scale corruption scandal in the city was exposed. This was a huge success, but it came at a great cost. Inspector Fahad, who had become deeply involved in this case, was profoundly affected by it. He realized that the fight for justice never ends, and every case leaves a new scar on his soul. He wrote in his diary, "Every human being harbors a deep secret, and sometimes this secret becomes so dangerous that it takes someone's life or ruins someone's life." Fahad tried to find new meaning in his life and decided to focus on his personal life as well. Sarah began a new life and decided to raise her child. She continued to help psychiatric patients, but her demeanor had become more empathetic and humanizing than before. She had learned from her life experiences that every human being carries a deep sorrow within, and it needs to be understood. Nadia received punishment for her crime, but her story taught society an important lesson. Oppression and exploitation never lead to good outcomes. The story ends on an emotional and thought-provoking note. Justice is served, but at a great cost. This was a story that delves into the depths of human psychology, where secrets, revenge, and complex relationships are intertwined. This story teaches us that every human being harbors a deep secret, and sometimes this secret becomes so dangerous that it takes someone's life or ruins someone's life.